Okay, I swear to God, I just talked to the camera for 30 minutes and then accidentally deleted it. So forgive me if I'm a little bit more straight and to the point than I had expected to be. The Friends of Dusty fundraiser has concluded. A private donor has, came forward and who wishes to remain anonymous, came forward and offered to pay the remaining $1,232. And I just received that payment, and so the money is taken care of. And I will be getting in touch with the medical credit people that gave me open the line of credit for me to do this, and telling them I'm ready to just pay the whole thing off. And I just, to that person, obviously tremendous thanks, but to every single person who contributed and every single person who helped spread the word and wrote in to me with moral support and everything. Thank you so much. It has meant the world to me. And when I started this, I started this fundraiser literally at the spur of the moment, just in the doctor's office, in the exam room, when they came in and showed me the bill and said, and it's going to cost this much if you want to try the surgery. I thought about it, and I knew. I realized I was talking about, and it was already like $1,100 in the hole just for the day, the day of, and of the first examination. And they said you're looking at easily $2,000 to $3,000 for this, and they explained to me that basically he's between a rock and a hard place, because he had blockage in his lungs. I got this conveniently. My mother's cat had died the week before, and she had given me one of those climbing tree things that they have for cats, for my cats to use. So I brought it home, and it was an instant success, an instant hit with the cats, but it had these streamer things, these like ribbony streamer things hanging from it, and Dusty ran up and chewed into that and swallowed it, and that was what blocked up his colon and ultimately made him sick. But he had been throwing up all week, and he had developed aspirated pneumonia from breathing in what he what he'd had in his lungs. And so they told me, he had probably about like a 30% chance at best. And I thought about it. I realized, I already didn't have the money for what I'd agreed to pay for just the exam. But I realized, I said to myself, I just thought about it, and I thought, you know what? Even if he dies, I cannot live with I would not be able to live knowing that he died because I was just unable to pay for it. I took responsibility for this cat. I took him on, and that carries with it the moral, the moral commitment to take, to provide for them. So I can give him the opportunity. And I will be the one that has to shoulder the burden of that, and not him. So let me give him this opportunity. And I did that, and I tweeted, just, is there anybody that could help me out with this? And within minutes, that tweet was getting retweeted, and it was getting shared on Facebook. And people were saying, contribute to this, help this situation. And I was already right there getting people writing to me saying, how do I contribute to how do I make a donation to this? And I mean, I actually had to say, well, like, hold on, let me get home and set up a way for you to reach my my PayPal account and everything, and so I was just amazed as the money started coming in and the support started coming in. That day that the surgery happened, I was scheduled to go up to the studio with a couple of the guys in my band, the studio up in Dahlonega, where we're going to be recording the Leaving Babylon album. And it's Lead Belly Sound, and they're a fantastic studio, especially for metal. And I'll that's for another video. But anyway, we went up there, and of course, the whole time we're up there hanging out and touring the studio, looking at all the equipment and cracking wise, and chatting with Matt, the producer, and everything, producer engineer, and all of that. I'm trying in the back of my mind to suppress this what I know is going on. And they called me and said, the vet called me and said, we've got Dusty in the best condition we can possibly get him in right now, so do you want to go forward with the surgery? And I said, yes, tell Dusty I love him. And that was that was towards the end of our visit that day to the studio. And driving home, I just felt like I was in a fog. I mean, I just felt like I was in a I just couldn't think about anything, and it's like, what's the old song? Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word they say. I don't hear a word they're saying. That was what it was like. I knew I could hear myself conversing with the guys in my band. Dan and Keith were with me. And I could feel myself conversing with them, but I couldn't, I could hear myself conversing, but it was like it was happening at a distance. It was like I was sitting inside myself listening to somebody else talking. And that was while the surgery was going on and everything. And we dropped Dan off at his house. And then as Keith and I pulled in to pulled into the parking place at my apartment, I got the call that they told me, I mean, talk about an emotional roller coaster. They told me that the operation was a success, but that when they took his breathing tube out, his heart stopped. And they were doing CPR. They were doing everything they could. They had actually gotten to the point of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with chest compressions. I mean, they were literally at that point trying to restart his heart. And they said, we're going to try for a few more minutes, but this may be it. There may not be anything else we can do. And about 15 minutes later, they called me back and told me that that was it. And that video, there's a video called The News on Dusty that's on my channel. Most of you who have been following this have seen it. And my drummer, Keith, you hear Keith telling me as I'm sitting there, as the camera starts recording, he was saying what was ultimately the truth was that, Dusty did have a weak heart, and something like this probably would have caught up with him eventually, regardless. But for the time that he was here, which was a very short life, only 6 months, for the time he was here, he lived as well as any cat could possibly live. He had a good, warm, safe, comfy place to live. He was showered with affection by everyone that saw him, and he had a couple of friends to play with, and he really couldn't ask for anything more. And there's a picture, especially if you look at my Facebook page, I made it my ID picture, of me laying in bed like this and him curled up like that with his head right under my chin. That is how he would sleep with me. He would get in bed and sleep with me like that. I mean, he was just the sweetest cat, and he was so courageous and so outgoing. And it's like he would get in the bathtub with me. Like if I was taking a shower, he would come sit in the shower with me and get out and shake off and all of that. And what cat, I mean, a cat that doesn't mind getting showered with water, it's amazing. But anyway, and I think about the day before I took him in to the vet, as sick as he was, and as he had the whole time he had been. They do animals, cats especially do that thing that they do where when they feel sick, they go to one place and they stay there and they don't move, and they sit with they don't fold up their arms like they do. They sit like this, and he would go under that climbing tree and sit there like that, and he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink. I was feeding him with an eyedropper towards the end, and he couldn't even keep that down. But that Wednesday night that I took before I took him to the vet, he came in there, and he came into the bathroom while I was taking a shower, and he was moving very slowly, and it's like he was just barely aware of what's going on, and his little face was wet from all the throwing up and everything. But he came up and stood up with both paws on the bathtub and looked around like he was trying to get back in the bathtub with me, or he was trying. It's like this little guy had been basically just sitting there doing nothing for an entire week, and then he pulls himself up to come. It's like he knew it was going to be the last time he got to do that. And the next morning I was planning to take him to the vet anyway, but I went in there. He was on the floor of the bathroom and he was going into shock. And the vet that I ultimately took him to, that gave him the operation, they are awesome people, and they have my business going forward. The usual vet, and I've had some problems with them in the past, but the vet I usually take my animals to, they have completely lost my business. I mean, completely lost it, because Tuesday night, Tuesday when this all started happening, I called Tuesday night, and they was like, oh, it doesn't sound too bad. If he throws up, if he goes for 4 hours, and it's 9 o'clock, so if it reaches midnight and he doesn't throw up, it's probably not a problem, and he probably just got a hairball, blah blah blah. So midnight came and went, and he didn't throw up, but then he threw up at like 2:30 in the morning. So I was like, okay, what in the hell, man? But anyway, so he they were like telling me, it doesn't sound like too much of a problem, it sounds fine and all of that. Hindsight's always 20/20 though, so I wish I had thought to cut the streamers off of that climbing tree before I brought it in. It's the main thing that I'm kicking myself for. But regardless, I got, because of this campaign, I mean, Dusty received, I believe, contributions from every continent except Antarctica. I mean, every continent and countries all over the world. People were. I was translate. In PayPal, it translates the money into American money, and I was translating Deutschmarks and yen and just so many. I mean, I can't think of the different denominations right now, pounds and euros, and I mean, it was just incredible. It was truly incredible, and it's helped me today. knowing that I had everything covered financially, today I sat down and cried even harder than I did when when he died, the day he died, because I feel like, it was like the financial burden that I was having to think about was taken care of. It's kind of like they talk about when you bury a relative, a human relative, and the sorrow doesn't hit you until after the sadness and the grief doesn't hit you until after the funeral, because up until then you were planning for the funeral and making the arrangements and everything. You were focused on that. That's kind of what it was like. I mean, I was torn up, but I was focused mainly on making the payments. And now that that's happened, I just completely broke down, and I may break down again if I'm not careful. But I finally expressed a lot of things that I needed to get out for myself. And thank you all. Thank you so much. That is all I can say is thank you. As far as the incentives that I talked about, I will still be doing the Vessel Chronicles, which was the kind of anthropomorphic animal series that I talked about, that's going to be in the tradition of Watership Down and Secret of Nim and Redwall and all of those great animal stories, if you will. And I'm still doing that, and Victor Flug, who's a regular viewer of mine, and has graciously volunteered to contribute illustrations for the different chapters. And if you go on facebook.com/Eros Empire and scroll down, you'll be able to see the cover art that he designed. And I did the text layout, but he did the illustration, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's stunning, and the rest is going. I've got the illustration for the first chapter, and it's beautiful, and you'll see it when it goes up. So that will still be happening, and I will still be doing all of the installments of the Vessel Chronicles Book 1. And yes, I would like to make it a series, and we'll see how I will go about accomplishing that once the first book is finished and published online. And might just make it an online thing like Marble Hornets or something like that. So that's going to happen. Waterlark, which was the album of my music that was going to go up when we reach $2,000, that's going to go up as well. And to everyone who wrote in about Nightscapes, who listened to it and enjoyed it, thank you very much. And that album was essentially it made $1,000, if you will, because that was the first incentive goal. So it made $1,000, and for that reason, I absolutely consider it a success. And Waterlark will have, technically, it's made $2,000. So for that reason, I will consider that album a success. I'm going to need time to get Waterlark posted, just because my band, is going into the studio this week, and then in a few weeks we're going to go into the studio again to do the last half of the album. And so we're going to need, I'm going to need time to do that, and then also I'm going to need time here in my home studio here. The way I see Waterlark is going to be an album of my classical music, and if I say so myself, you're going to hear a wide range of stuff on here, from everything from things influenced by Brahms and Mozart and Beethoven to stuff that's very obviously influenced by like modern composers like Philip Glass and Stephen Reich and Arvo Part and all of that. And so a lot of really incredible stuff, a lot of very diverse stuff within the realm of classical, symphonic, and orchestral music. And the way I'm going to do it is I have here in my home studio, I have a vast array of MIDI plugins and everything, and I can generate extremely realistic symphonic and orchestral sounds. So the music has been loaded into Finale. That will generate the MIDI files, which I will then open in Pro Tools, and it will have all of the the different instruments will have their MIDI simulators attached to them and everything, and so it's a relatively easy process. But doing this for an entire symphony worth of instruments, plus there are places where like I use tribal hand drumming and things, so all these patches that need to be arranged and the production, all of that's going to take me a while. So Waterlark will be posted before the end of the year, as a Christmas present, if nothing else. But I would like to have it up ideally by October. I doubt that will happen, probably November. But nevertheless, that's the production schedule on that. And I wasn't planning on having this paid off so quickly. So, again, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be looking into some animal charities for all of the videos. I'd said I was going to replace all of the for all the videos. I was going to replace that message with links to worthwhile animal charities, and I will. So I'm going to be looking into that in the next few days. But I would encourage for anyone right now, and I've found some charities so far that they raise money to pay out the immediate need for when animals are in an immediate need for surgery, and so those are probably, given my situation, those are the ones I think I'd like to support. So I'm gonna be looking into those. Right now, though, honestly, this doesn't have anything to do with medicine, but if you follow my or medical needs, but if you follow my Twitter, if you follow my Twitter feed, and if you know me, I'm a tremendous fan of Marina Abramovic. And if you haven't seen the movie The Artist is Present, oh my God, see it. You have got to see it. She better than anyone else can make you understand modern art and performance art on such an unbelievable level, and it is absolutely captivating, that documentary. So for God's sake, go see it. But anyway, Marina Abramovic she is trying to raise money to start the Marina Abramovic Institute, and she has, I think, like 4 or 5 days left to go on her Kickstarter campaign. She needs $600,000. She needs to raise now, I think, like $150,000 thereabouts to get it, happening, to make it to make the Kickstarter campaign successful. This, if you were to contribute to anything, this would be what I would wholeheartedly contribute, or suggest that you contribute to. If I had the money, I mean, God, if I had, in the spirit of this donor that supported me just now, if I had $150,000 I could part with, I would give it to her in a heartbeat. Like, I want to see this thing realized. So the Marina Abramovic Institute, it is a full immersion kind of combination museum and artists academy, if you will, teaching people her method for long form performance art. And I mean, there's some huge people. Lady Gaga has been tremendously behind this, and yes, there is a very explicit and very beautiful video of Lady Gaga training, doing the Marina Abramovic method, stark naked. And so two of my favorite women, two of my favorite performance artists, and two of my favorite exhibitionists, Marina and Lady Gaga. So contribute to that if you want to. I know a few people had said, "Oh, I'm going to contribute to Friends of Dusty." but I need waiting on my paycheck, that kind of thing. If you were intending to contribute to Friends of Dusty, then for God's sake, for now, support that. I mean, that's going to be that's going to be a really amazing, really groundbreaking cultural breakthrough. A wonder of the world, if you will. And honestly, if Anita Sarkeesian can get 150 grand plus, surely Marina Abramovic can as well. And to reach her $600,000 goal. Problem is, she's only got like 4 or 5 days left. So, like, if you see this video within that amount of time of it being posted and you want to donate, for God's sake, do it. Thank you again. Thank you very much. And I need to stop before I choke up, but I am truly moved from the depths of my soul. Thank you.